There's a bar in New York that I don't think anyone but me can see. Well, they don't acknowledge it, at least. It's a small place tucked in between the Panda Express and Blairy Stone on 8th Avenue, across the street from Madison Square Garden. Sometimes I don't even notice it, to be honest. If I'm not out looking for it, it'll slip right under my radar. Sometimes I feel like I'm looking right at it and it won't be there. I've always been an observant person. It comes as a perk of being quiet and introverted, so I'd been chalking it up to that, or the simple fact that it wasn't a popular place as to why no one noticed it. But I started to notice something odd. Despite the fact that no one ever went in or out of it, there was always a decent crowd. For the last few days, I've been getting lunch at the cafe across the street and watching it, just to make sure that nobody went in, and sure enough, no one did. So today, I'm going to figure out what's going on. I mean, I'm not exactly the adventurous type, but I do like to have answers. It's probably nothing. Maybe the owner's just an asshole and nobody wants to acknowledge the bar, or maybe it's an invite-only deal. Hell, I just might be crazy, but whatever the reason, I'm going to find it, and I'll post whatever happens here. For some backstory, my name is Charles Kelly. I work at a marketing agency around the corner from the pub, so I walk past it every day, and I've always been very observant. I just tend to notice things around me. I'm not sure when I started noticing it exactly, but I know I've never saw it open. I just started noticing it. It's a very little building. It's run down with a very dark color tone. It wasn't very decorated at all, just a sign with one golden tooth on it hanging above the door. There are only 2 windows, one on either side of the door, but they were heavily tinted. I could see through, but it wasn't easy without drawing stairs, so I didn't do it that often. Like I said though, whenever I did, it was busy. The windows were too dark to see anything more than dark shapes moving around though. Today I think I'm going to ask a few of my coworkers if they know anything about it, and it'll probably end there. I guess I'll end up posting all this anyway, just in case anyone else out there is wondering what's up with the Golden Tooth Bar on 8th Avenue. Alright, it's a little weird. No one had heard of it. Not even Jordan, the asshole, who had a thing to say about every restaurant in town. All 26,000 of them. Not the Golden Tooth, though. We looked in the phone book for a number to call, but there was nothing, and by that time, our boss wanted us to get back to work. There was nothing, not a trace of this place anywhere. On my way home, I walked past the bar again. I don't know, something about it just weirds me out. I feel like it's right there, then I walk to the end of the block and turn around, and I can't see it. It's a trick of the light or something, right? I don't know. There's not many avenues for me to go down, aside from walking right in, but I'll keep this updated if anything happens. February 15th. Today was a Saturday, so I didn't walk past the bar, but I mean, it's weird, right? No one at my work had ever heard of a bar that's not even a block away from it. That's definitely strange, but it's definitely not worrying. I'm not much of a social butterfly. I didn't exactly have plans getting in the way, so my day was free to pursue this as much as I wanted. I wasn't really sure where to start, but I didn't want to go straight to the bar. I don't think I'm ready for that quite yet, so I decided to do some research at the library. There wasn't much to my trip because, once again, there was not a trace of the bar anywhere. Not the gold tooth, not the golden tooth, not even the golden teeth. I'm running out of options aside from just walking right in. I don't know, that's just might be what I'll do. What's the worst that can happen, right? It's an exclusive club and a big bouncer throws me out? No, I suppose the worst that could happen would be that I'm crazy and I bumped into a brick wall. I'll do a bit more digging. The post isn't long right now, so I'll hold off until I can add more to it. That'll probably be the pattern here. I'm not going to upload a paragraph at a time, so you'll probably see multiple days covered in one post. The strangest thing just happened. I left the library and decided to go to one of the only places left that might have a chance of knowing about this place, my local bar. However, before I had gotten 10 steps from the library, I had picked up a tail. As I mentioned before, I'm hyper observant, so I noticed it pretty quickly. He was dressed in normal street clothes, no fancy black suit, no dark sunglasses, but I could tell he wasn't comfortable in those clothes. He was undercover. At least, that's the first conclusion I jumped to. He may have been a creep, but he definitely was following me. I took 4 lefts, and he stayed with me, but quickly dropped back after that. He must have realized I knew he was following me, and either abandoned ship or gotten a whole lot more careful. I decided to forego my mission at the bar and head straight home. And now that I am home, I'm starting to think that option where I'm a crazy person investigating a brick wall may not be so far from the truth. Secret agents tailing me? Come on, I'm just on edge. I'll try and take my mind off it for the weekend. By Monday, maybe I'll have slept on it enough to be ready to go in. Okay, I know I said I wouldn't think about it for the weekend, but I'm not crazy. There's this cafe across the street from my apartment, and ever since I got home last night, there's been a man sitting in one of the chairs staring up at my apartment window. I don't know what he wants from me or how he knows which apartment I live in, but he's barely moved. He gets up every once in a while, goes into the cafe, and comes out with a coffee. He probably goes to the bathroom while he's in there. That's what I've deduced. But he hasn't slept, hasn't talked to anyone. He's simply been watching and waiting. It's been over 24 hours now and he's still there. I mean, the cafe isn't even open. It's almost 2 in the morning, but he's still there. When the place closed, I saw a waiter approach him, but he just waved him off and continued sitting there. It's a public bench. The police can't tell him to leave, can they? Even if they could, I sound crazy enough just listening to my own thoughts. I have no idea how crazy this would sound to the police. God, talk about crazy. I've slept a combination of 3 hours this weekend. I have work tomorrow. If he was going to kill me, he would have done it by now. I'm going to bed. I am at work now, but it was, of course, a feat getting there. I slept past my alarm this morning because, of course, the lack of sleep. And as I was dressing, I checked out the window to see if that man was still there, and he was. Realizing I had no choice but to walk past him, it was a stressful process, getting ready the rest of the way. It probably made me even more late. However, when I walked out on the street, I stopped. The man was gone. There was nobody in any of the chairs, in fact. It was the first time I went out to see the guy up close, and he wasn't even there. Am I crazy? I don't know. Anyway, I saw the bar again this morning. I looked closer, and there was a lot of strange shapes moving around. It was dark, but they were moving. Living things that didn't quite look human. That's definitely one in the crazy column. I mean, what am I going to do at this point? I'm going in after work. I'm going to do it. This is it. I'm either crazy or I'm not. Alright, I didn't go in. I'm back at my house now. But things have just gotten so much worse. As soon as I got out of work, I noticed a man following me. I'm not sure if it's the same man from the cafe, but I have a feeling it was. Then I noticed another guy across the street on the bench. He was looking at me over a newspaper. There was a woman drinking a cup of coffee, but was there really coffee in there? I suddenly felt a strange sensation on my wrist, and I looked down at my watch. I took it off, and it looked normal. I knew that dark patch was always there, but what if it wasn't? What if it was a bug? I ripped it off and stuffed it in the nearest trash can, just in case. A woman with earpods glanced up at me in confusion from the other side of the bin. She could have been one of them, too. I backed away from her, then broke into a run towards my house. I didn't even glance at the golden tooth, I just needed to get home. That's where I am now. I locked the door, closed the blinds, and then checked my room for anything that could have been changed. Everything was exactly where I left it, though. Okay, now that I just typed all that out, I think this whole ordeal is driving me crazy. I think, and that's the worst part, because as crazy as all this sounds, there's a little part of me that says I'm right. Maybe all the others were an overreaction, but I don't know. There's just something about the cafe guy. I'm going to call in sick for work tomorrow. I've decided that much. I don't know what I'm going to do. But what I do know is that eventually my curiosity will get the better of my paranoia. It always does. This time, though, I don't know what the results could be. February 18th. Someone knocked on my door this morning, moments after I would have left my apartment for work. It was a short affair. 3 sharp knocks, then a beat. Then they left. No attempts to jiggle the doorknob, no follow-up knock. I was looking out the window at the time, making sure no one was watching me. And I jumped at the sudden noise, knocking over a potted plant I kept on the windowsill. I held my breath for a few moments, but there was no more noises. Then I scrambled over to the door and looked through the peephole, but there was no one to be seen. I immediately thought that I must have imagined the knocks. It certainly wouldn't be the biggest hallucination I'd experienced. At least, I hope so. You know what? Let's just say all this is real. What is the Golden Tooth? Some kind of secret government organization? I suppose I have no proof that it really is a bar. It just looks like one. It could be a test facility. It could be some kind of surveillance outpost. And now that I've been poking around it, I've been put on some watch list. I could be in danger. What if they are arranging an accident for me? Since then, I've been blocking my windows and staying in the middle of my apartment. This has all happened in the course of 4 days? I've never had anything like this. I'm not a paranoid guy, so I'm starting to think it may be real after all. I waited alone in my apartment for almost an hour, pacing nervously before I realized I should probably do something. Call it suicidal, call it rash, an impulsive decision. But I figured if I was going to go down, I might as well figure out what was in this place. After peeking out of the window to see that the cafe man was nowhere to be found, I pulled on a Yankee cap and some sunglasses and slipped out of my apartment. When I got to the base of the building, I took the corner onto 8th Avenue and bumped into a man coming around the corner. I moved to brush past him, but then I recognized him. It was the man that had been following me for the past 3 days. He didn't seem to be caught off guard. Instead, he seemed to wait for my move. For the split second it took for me to decide it, I lowered my shoulder and rammed into him, knocking him to the ground, and broke out into a sprint towards the gold tooth. As onlookers moved to help the man up, I continued on. When I was halfway there, I glanced over my shoulder to see that he hadn't begun to chase me. The crowd had disappeared, and he was just watching me, staring me down. I didn't wait another moment, knowing that he could have accomplices waiting for me around any corner. I made it safely to the sidewalk in front of the bar, though, and when I had looked back momentarily, the man was gone. I took a deep breath in and barged through the door. The bar went quiet. It was, in fact, a bar, as I had originally guessed, but not a normal bar. There were several tables scattered about, a few booths, and the bar, and in those seats sat the strangest derangement of beings I'd ever seen. There were some humans, but other than a bartender and a group in the corner booth, they were all wearing black suits and darkened sunglasses. Quite the formal attire for such a relaxed environment. They were the normal ones, though. There was a wide variety of unearthly creatures, sitting and seemingly eating. Creatures that stories were whispered around the campfire about. Creatures that were responsible for the bumps in the night. At the bar, there were several tall, weary creatures with skin so dark I'm not sure black would even describe it. They seemed to take in all the light from around them, making it difficult to see where their forms ended and the background began. Their eyes remained the only blemishes, the pure white specks in the dark void of their head. To their right was a scarecrow like the one you'd see in a cornfield, except as I watched it, it slowly blinked its eyes, then gave me a smile. Next to the scarecrow, there was what looked like a normal man. Well, normal except for the red eyes, but I could tell there was something off about him. He wasn't human. He was sitting with several smaller creatures that looked straight out of the biblical painting. They couldn't have been more than 4 feet tall, with little spiked tails waving around and wings jutting from their shoulders. They had gray-green skin and spiked teeth, and they smiled wickedly at me. There were all those and so many more that I saw, but I was brought out of the shocked moment of panic by a voice. "You're not supposed to be here." Then there was the click of a pistol, and I could feel the cold metal against my temple. Hey guys, thank you for listening to today's Creepypasta, and I hope you enjoyed. I do have a podcast called The Murder House Radio Show. Check it out. The link will be in the description below. It is a true crime podcast. But if you did like, comment, subscribe, and share for more. Hit the bell notification when you subscribe, and select all to get all notifications whenever I upload. I upload 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday, at least one video a day. Also, now all the long episodes and the full series of creepypastas are on all the major podcasting platforms under the name Deadly_Zone_narrations, or search up Devin Clarke, DEVINCLARKE. There will also be links for the podcasts in the description. Also, go follow all the social media accounts. They are in the description below. I do have a subreddit called Deadly Narrations. The link will be in the description. Also in the description are the sources to the creepypasta and the music used, so go check those out. Let me know what creepypasta you would like to hear, or if you have your own you would like me to narrate, or if you have a creepypasta series you would like to hear, send them to me on any of the social medias in the DMs, or to my email address, which is also in the description. Also in the description is the author's social medias, if they have any listed. But that's it for today's Creepypasta. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time in the Deadly Zone, stay deadly and stay spooky.